And the second question I had is, there were questions raised about the bills, and I just wondered if the council would consider maybe looking at the budget each month and seeing whether or not you're within or over budget for the kinds of expenditures in the month, because I think that really gives you some guidance.
Secretary does do that, and they look at each month as to how
so
bills
all the council members have a chance, but why is that not discussed in front of the public now? I mean, shouldn't, you know, you say that you're paying the bills, but we don't have any idea about whether you're within or, you know, the estimated budget is...
If you have a question, you can comment on it. If you have a specific question as to any item, sure, we'll try to answer that for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Ingeborg?
Last meeting, I think I mentioned it is possible to cut the budget, which means, first of all, your budget, what you get out of the budget.
This is Tom, that's okay. Tom, you do not argue with drunks. So, Ingeborg, just make your comment.
What did you just say?
I said, we don't argue. It's like arguing with the drunk. You just need to
I'm
make
not
your
drunk.
comment. You know,
Okay.
I'm not saying that you're drunk. I'm making that as a comment.
All right.
So all you need to do is make your comment, and we'll try to answer whatever.
I got this letter from Ms. Corley. You gave her that nonsense, attorney-client privilege.
That's what it is.
You waived it. You waived it.
If you
Okay.
believe.
You
that
gave it.
If you believe that we have not answered you correctly, you know in that letter you have the right to appeal
No.
that to Ms. Montfort, and you can do that.
You waived it. You gave it to a third person. You did the work for the district attorney, and that was not your place. And you charged for 7.5 hours. I want you to pay that back to the borough. That's what I mean, looking at the bills. What is it for? Okay?
Any other comments?
Yes. The street light. I got one page, Victor Capella, and he deserves it. He worked hard. But in comparison, what Senate Engineering made on street lighting, that is outrageous. And they never say what they did for the money. They say just street light project, street light project. More than $14,000, maybe $18,000. And they don't even say what it's for.
The engineer's work, so that you understand, correct me if I'm wrong, is based on a percentage of the construction project. Am I correct?
Well, we provide, that was a CDBG project, I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
In these applications, we provide an estimate,
That's
and
approved as
it's
part of the
approved by
grant
council,
application. Right.
and so we work within that budget.
Yeah.
But you never say what you really did. 7.5 hours for the main engineer, then 5 hours for another engineer. You never say what you really did. You just say streetlight project.
Well,
And that is outrageous compared what Capretta makes.
Any other comments?
Cut the budget.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Peggy,
Mainly
do you
yours.
Peggy, do you have any?
Not right now.
Anybody in the second row have any comments on non-agenda items related to the borough?
Oh.
We'll come back to you, Peggy. Anybody else in the second?
Yeah. I'm Melina Brai, which is everybody knows. I want to thank everybody for signing agreement tonight. And I hope that this will give us a new beginning of working together as a community of people like to be involved. I appreciate your answers to those ladies asking questions. However, we do want to go back to basics. We get more involved, our chair lady and council members to get more involved. We can give them a guidance, but they have to give answers because they have to explain to this lady why your bill was there
Well, when
and
she
for
asked
what.
me about my bill,
Yeah.
I'm the one who's going to make the response.
Yeah, I
I'm the one
understand.
who knows about my bill, so just so we understand.
Right, you're correct about that. You know, yeah, that's good. Yeah, we need explanation from you to whatever. But I mean, it's basically the councilmen's, men and women's business why they hired you, what they hired you for. So the questions should really be directed to council members. And then if there is a further questions to discuss with you, then we can go. And it's not just that issue. I'm talking about everything that we are doing here. It's like you're doing a good job of advising them, but sometimes they have to know more than you do because you can make mistakes too. You know, we are just the humans. So I just want to thank everybody for signing agreement tonight.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments in the second round?
Good evening. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, anything with a tripod. Try to give you a little more space.
That's good. Thank you, chair lady, thank you.
I don't know. Nothing's been signed or anything, so. We're going to delay the meeting for at least 5 minutes or so. You can still continue to, do whatever y'all want. Chit-chat. This is scary.
I have to settle down.
No, I heard.
Who can we thank for that?
Now, should we have written down that we want to speak?
I don't get any attorney.
We're stuck in the middle.
You cannot thank any attorney for that.
Right?
Yeah, we're stuck in the middle with no.
Not at this point. Okay.
Gene is Jack about done.
chickens to get from there. Oh, yeah, look at everything.
He would have to be pretty good from.
He was instrument rated, so today we're calling it. Yeah.
I just want you to know. Thank you, thank you.
You know what I mean? It's so good.
I know.
Did you see what happened across the street? Did you see that? They changed puppets. Oh, I know. Stop. Oh.
Okay.
They messed up. No, the sewer pipe. No, they put a hole in it. Yeah, and he said that for some years. He had like $20,000. And they have helped. Oh, yeah, well, Yes, yes.
We didn't do nothing.
Oh, there are two here. Two policemen. Oh, my God, that's really. I'm just joking. This, he has to be cut too. We don't need any sort of money. Somebody gives out a picture, they can mark. I mean, this is not serious. Yeah. And he gets over, but if he's not, he gets over.
I don't know yet. So before that, I get kicked off the first.
Okay, with the time being right, it is now 6:40. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is the regular council meeting of May 26th, and this meeting is being recorded to assist in the preparation of meeting minutes and for all other lawful purposes. The approved meeting minutes will serve as the final and the official record of the meeting, and if you have any problem with your statement or comment being recorded, please let us know. So at this time, Sherry, can we do roll call?
Scott Kraus,
You've been in other functions. Dennis Bowen?
Here.
Katie Coben? Here. Beverly Farina? Here. Tony Gross?
Here.
Randy Stoddard? Ed Lasky? Here. Madam President, you have a report. Okay, good. Jack? I'm gonna
Public
have you-
comment? Now's the time for public comment on our agenda items. Those agenda items tonight are the approval of the previous minutes, the approval of the bills. We have a construction manager's report, and there will be application for payment on the new construction that we have. Those two are listed. We do have an engineer's report on pre-applications, and as I understand these are just applications where you're putting in an application for the loan. It's not the actual approval of the grant itself.
The grant, yeah.
And we also have ordinances or resolutions. We have one ordinance, 564, which is a revision of the service increment provision in the police pension plan. What that ordinance is about is for length of service, anything over 25 years to 30 years, they get some additional monthly payment in their pension fund. We will be discussing that tonight. So if anyone in the first row has any comment on any of the agenda items, please stand, give us your name and address, and your comment, limit to 3 minutes, please.
Okay, yes. Ingeborg Miller from English Recommendables, 303.1. Regarding approval bills, reading the bills, that's okay. Approval of the bills and paying the bill. Anybody, any council member, if they all look at the bill, not just look at the bills, check the bills, what is what for.
They have the
Because-
opportunity to ask questions at the time of the approval of the bills. If they have a question on the bill, they can ask that.
But you cannot make a motion if you never check the bills.
We're given that.
They're given the bills ahead of time. If they have a question on it, they can ask that at the time of the motion to approve.
Are they all, when they
Yes,
show the
everybody
bills,
gets a copy.
everybody's there and they make
Yes.
comments?
Everybody gets a copy of the bills. Not everyone has a comment. If they have a comment, they
Call
make it
Sherry.
at the time of approval, or they give Sherry a call ahead of time.
Yeah, but
They get a list with the description, I'm sorry. And so the description is pretty detailed.
no, excuse me, not Senate
All
engineering.
right, we're not gonna argue the point. If you
I'm
have
not
a comment-
arguing, I make
If
a
you have a
comment,
comment,
okay?
Thank you.
So, for the future.
Anybody in the second row have any comment on any of the agenda items this evening?
Yeah, Melina Brajewicz, 221 H Street, Blawnox. There was a number 9. There was the 2 number figures
Yes,
that were mentioned.
yes.
I'm just concerned about those particular ones since we have a history that council members unanimously vote yes for everything. If anyone would question and challenge something so that we can have not wasteful spending, so that we can minimize whatever, like a bond loan that we have, if we can minimize our spending, then we
Let's
can
keep your
pay off,
Let's keep your comment to these 2 items.
we can pay off it quickly.
Yeah.
So everything that we are spending in this borough is going to affect taxpayers and wasteful. I just want to make sure that we prevent the wasteful spending.
We do that every month. If there's any question, excuse me, on any of these payment applications, a board member can ask a question on it. And if there's any information that's necessary, they can table that motion. But you have to understand, when these come to us, they've already been reviewed by the engineer, by the architect, by the construction manager. So those are the people who are the eyes and ears of the board. They make the determination, and the board usually votes on their recommendation. But if we have a question, we can ask them.
So we chose the engineers and construction people. However, do we have a chance to purchase somebody cheaper if there is a way of saving money?
Every year, the borough decides who they're going to hire as their professionals. At that meeting, you can always come and make a comment about that if you so decide.
I mean, it's a borough's job to do the research.
That's right.
Every single member.
They do, and they hire
Yourself
professional
as
people.
a borough advisor. Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you. There being nobody else, we can.
Okay. The next item is going into executive session, and this is going to be discussing litigation matters. So at this time, it is
an estimate of time?
That I'm not sure.
20 minutes? 20 minutes?
Going back to the train. Okay, we have to leave.
What?
We have to leave.
Is there anything?
Oh, they stay.
Oh.
Okay. Not enough room back there. Maybe build another building. Another 10 million, huh?
Yeah.
Sure.
We need more chairs.
I'll stand, that's fine.
No, no.
Those ladies sit
They,
down.
no, they should spread it too. They kicked us out. What are you saying? They kicked us out, they should supply us chairs.
Opening door, please. Just put more chairs.
Oh, here she
Thank you
comes.
very much.
Thank you.
Do we need any more?
Thank you.
Hello there, long time no see.
Yeah. Haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, I would say, where you been riding?
No, I mean,
Oh.
Okay, at the time, we're getting out of executive session at 7:25, and at this time, I'm turning the meeting over to
Council President, my name is Charles Saul, and I represent the borough and other defendants in an action brought by William Brashevic and Peggy Albright in the Western District of Pennsylvania. I've been appointed by the borough's insurance company to represent the borough. I'm very pleased to inform the borough that we have been able to enter into a full and final settlement agreement with a full release, with a non-admission of liability clause, with various procedures that will help to retain order within for the agenda and business meetings of the council, and at the same time continue the policy of being an open borough for public comment. So I would recommend the passage of a motion. Somebody wishes to make a motion to approve the full and final settlement agreement. The insurance company, I can tell you, basically wants an end to the litigation, and they're willing to pay the price to end the litigation and get this matter entirely behind us.
Is there anybody who wants to, we would need a motion then to authorize the proper borough officials to execute a settlement agreement in the federal court lawsuit of Brashevic and Albright versus the borough of Blawnox.
I will make that motion.
Second.
Call for question. Roll call. Denny?
Yes.
Katie? Yes. Beverly?
yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Deb? Yes.
All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
Charlie. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Cat.
Okay, to continue on with the meeting. The open and the consideration of bids and quotations. Is that right or not? Okay. Then we have the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, which is of May 9th. I need a motion to approve those agenda minutes. Second?
Second.
Call the question. Roll call. totals. In the general fund, we have $48,596.58. And in the water fund, we have $24,389.20. At this time, I need approval to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion.
Second, call for question. Roll call.
Denny?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Bev?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
All in favor? Motion carries. Let's go for that time. Let's go.
Okay, at this time, we're down to the report from the construction manager of the fire station.
Thank you very much for your time. The first thing I'd like to do is go ahead and give you an update on where we are with the project. Right now, currently, the contractor is pouring the footings. The piles are in place. The pile caps are in place. They are currently pouring the grade beams and getting ready to, as you can see out there, they're setting the forms for the grade beams. They'll be pouring them next week. And they'll be continuing to level out the areas for them to start putting in the floors. That will probably take us into the middle of next month. They'll still be doing concrete work. And shortly after that, they'll be coming in and starting doing the block work. They'll be starting with the area down near Pine Street, and they'll be building that up so that they can start laying the structural steel for the first floor over there behind the back of the building where the mechanical storage areas are and where the kitchen and offices are above that. So that's where we are right now. Based on the contractor's schedule, we are still on schedule. We have not been impacted at all by the weather that we've had. We were fortunate that the weather came when it did as far as the rain, because it came at a time where it wasn't going to actually impact the progress of the project. With the pile driving, the rain really isn't going to impact them as far as what they can do and what they can't do. They can drive the piles during the rain, and it doesn't affect the project at all. So now we're getting into those areas that become a little bit more sensitive to the weather. So we will keep our eye out on that. But as of right now, we are still on schedule. What I would also like to do at this time is go ahead and two of the contractors have made application for payment at this time. It is the two contractors who have actually been on the site and progressing with their work. The mechanical contractor and the plumbing contractor haven't had a lot to do at this point. You'll be seeing them on site a little bit more as the project continues. But for right now, what I would like to do is present for approval payment application number 2 from Tomlin Construction, the amount of $276,378.50. Our office has reviewed the payment application, and it is in accordance with the amount of work that has been done on the site at this time.
We are on schedule as far as total amounts. We have no changes, orders, or anything
That's
else
correct.
at this point in time.
That's correct. We have, at this time, we have no additional change orders.
So the bid is still firm.
That's correct. The only change orders we've had to date had to do with the salt storage building. So this is for approval of the Tomlin Construction.
At this time, we're gonna, I need a motion of paying the contractor's application for payment number 2 to Tomlin Construction in the amount of $276,378.50. I need a motion.
Motion.
Second? Second. Call for question. Roll call?
Denny?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
All in favor? Motion carries.
At this time, I'd also like to present for approval payment application number 2 from L&F Electrical in the amount of $2,389.18. We have reviewed that payment application, and again, it is in conformance with the amount of work that has been done on the site to this point.
Need a a motion that we pay the contractor of L&F Electric $2,389.18.
I'll make the motion.
Second? Second. Call for questions. Roll call?
Denny?
Yes.
Katie? Yes. Beverly?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you very much for your time.
Very good.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'm going to turn my attention to the engineers.
Yes, on the agenda is the CDBG pre-applications. I met with Sherry, I believe, last week sometime, can't remember when. And we can go through this list of the pre-applications that were submitted to the Allegheny Valley North Council of Governments. Want to let you know, Tom Benecki, the director, has indicated that he's not submitting as a total package all the communities until tomorrow, so we still have a chance if you want to add or delete, okay? So, you know, at this time it's still open. And we can work diligently tomorrow morning to get anything he might need or, you know, contact him.
So is your window then at like noon time that you have to have everything?
Yeah, I think he's gonna take things down in the afternoon, so. But running through these, the sanitary sewer repair phase 6 and rehab, manhole rehab phase 4. These are items that, as you went through all these phases, were discovered, deleted, and you know, we wanted to add, but the Department of Planning and Development wouldn't let us add. So these are sort of a mismatch of small items that would totally complete your rehab plan for the sewers and manholes. So that application was drawn up and reviewed with Sherry. West 3rd Street reconstruction was just a resubmittal.
Excuse me, what's the amount that we're asking for the sanitary
Yeah,
sewer?
Sherry, did you?
Sherry?
Let me see if it's in the engineering.
Yeah. I think we sent those afterwards, because I just have the transmittal.
No, I can get those to council.
I know we sent those down like the day after, or later in the day.
Like that, you think?
Yeah,
We're having some problems with our fax.
okay.
Well, how about I'll get them and I'll email them to council, scan them and email them.
Okay, that would be fine. Yeah, Mayor, we had sent those down separately from the engineer's report, and unfortunately, I didn't bring a copy myself.
I mean, we're asking for grant money, so it's not something that we're out of line doing.
Right, it's,
And these are the
right.
pre-apps.
We're out of line doing, but it's just, I would be interested to know, and I'll be honest with you, I did not read the engineer's
I
report.
just
Well,
think
no,
that the
yeah,
engineer's report wasn't in there.
yeah, unfortunately, just the transmittal to Tom Benecki was put in there, not the actual
Okay.
pre-application, and then we sent that down later, Sherry, but if you were having problems, and
We had some lightning issues.
If you could get that to us, Sherry, I think everybody would appreciate knowing
No
the
problem.
numbers.
I'll get it from Gordon
And whether it's for
tomorrow morning, I'll send it.
100% of the project or 75% of the project or
typically
whatever.
it's 65-35, except for the area wide, you get around $23,000. And I'll go through that. The sanitary sewer was 65% grant, 35% borough, like they have been over the past 6 years.
Okay.
The West 3rd Street, again, that was a resubmittal. This might be the 3rd year in a row, I think. Fourth year in a row we've submitted for that.
Is that a 65%er?
Yes. The 300,000 gallon tank improvements, phase 2, we're doing phase 1 right now. In fact, they'll be starting in June. These were those items because of the bid price items were taken off of there, scope of work items, and it was rebid such that, you know, you could use that grant money and be in line with that budget-wise. So, those items were taken off and now submitted this year as a phase 2 for that rehabilitation.
And that was like the interior, that was the level monitoring for the tank. There was some other things, but we could only, the grant only allowed us to paint the outside of the tank and do some work around it.
Right.
Last year's grant, so this is like the second part of that.
A new one, something that hasn't been submitted previously, is a 50,000 gallon tank demolition. Now I do know the price on that one because we had called a couple of demolition contractors. We put 30,000 on there. And again, that's 65-35, but you never know about demolition contractors. This thing can be done based on scrap metal value for 5,000. I mean, those vary widely on demolitions and what they can get for the price of scrap at the time they bid. So we were conservatively saying 30,000, and that's a 65%, 35%. And then it was brought to our attention from Mr. Joe Bellotti that a lot of these water valves in town are so old, they're beyond their useful life. And it was suggested you start to try to replace the water valves. In particular, I think down at the southern end of town.
3rd Street.
3rd Street, so we're going to start there first. That's why the street's 3rd Street water valve replacement. And again, that can be phased. And anytime you phase projects, and water and sewer is the big thing now, planning and development, but anytime you phase them, they like that. It's like you're sort of taking a little piece at a time instead of a big chunk, wanting the money all at once. So they like programs like that. So Sherry and ourselves, we felt it was important to get one in for that. This doesn't read phase 1, but you know, if you do get those funds, and that's the area-wide where
$23,571.
you know the exact amount.
I do.
I just say 23,000.
But I do remember the valve prices. We talked about $8,500 per valve replacement.
Right.
So that would be right in line with our area wide.
Their area wide is kind of, that's the easiest one to get.
Right. If it's your turn to get it,
You get it.
typically
It's
you
not
get
a-
it. Right. It's not a-
That's through the call.
Right. So those are the 5 that were submitted as pre-applications. Again, these are just pre. They have to go downtown, reviewed by the county, and then they let you know, if you're good to go to submit the full application. And you don't need to do anything. Only once the county lets you know which ones are good to go for full applications, that's where you need the resolutions. So,
About how long would that take then?
when do we usually find out? In June, July, something?
Because we have to have the full acts done in July.
It's probably June. Yeah, I think it is June.
So then we'll
No.
we'll act on this.
You don't need any action whatsoever. Any comments?
And I will get this cost to you in the morning. I'll scan a PDF and send it to everybody's.
I just have one comment, and it doesn't involve any of these 5 applications, but this letter we received from Dennis Davin said that we had been approved for community park improvements last year. Year 37, was that last year?
Yes.
Okay. And at this time, Allegheny County had not received HUD's notice of our allocation amount, and they could proceed to say that they're going to get drawn about 16.46% or roughly $3 million. So this could affect the amount of funds that we receive and other municipalities throughout the county received that were promised for last year,
For year 37.
for year 37.
Right. However, Tom Benecki came over to my office a couple of weeks ago, and it looks like what they're gonna do is take it out of sewer and water, not, and I can't guarantee you this, but not the park project. Tom has indicated that the shortage they're having and the way they're looking at it, they're looking at percentages, and the highest percentage of the funding goes to sewer and water, so probably the highest percentage of the cuts will be in sewer and water. And I don't believe you have a sewer and water issue, you just have a park. Is it, Dennis indicated it was for the park, right?
Yes. That's
Yeah,
correct.
so, you know, I can't guarantee you that some funding wouldn't be cut, but from what Tom Benecki has told me in his meetings with the county, that,
Well, it's good. Just if they lose $3 million, it's gotta come from someplace.
and they're actually, and they're taking administrative cuts. I mean, they're going right down the entire, because, you know, a portion of the federal funding pays their salaries, so they're going right down the line and taking cuts everywhere.
So Gordon, let's say that we get less funding for this project than what we were anticipating, and that's those 2 sets of stairs coming to park.
Is that what that was for, the
Yes,
stairs?
yes.
I'm sorry, okay.
That's all right. Can we scale that project back then?
I don't have an answer to that question. You know, Tom just indicated until they say what's cut, he doesn't know what the rules are.
Okay.
But, and again, maybe I didn't explain this clear enough. Tom indicated they're probably mostly coming from sewer and water, and the way they're gonna take the cuts, they're gonna just wipe out entire projects. It's like, if it's cut, it's not gonna be a percentage, it's gonna be the total project, is what he feels 90% sure. So,
There's a chance we could get full funding.
it's either, from what Tom has indicated, it's gonna stay the same, like the 65%, 35%, or it's gonna be completely, wow, they're just gonna say, you don't have money for this project this year. But again, Tom's saying he feels that most of those cuts are gonna come from sewer and water, and this isn't a sewer and water project.
Is that important?
That's all I have.
Ordinances and resolutions, so we have on the agenda tonight ordinance 564, which is an ordinance of the Borough of Blawnox, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, amending ordinance number 354 as amended, revising the normal retirement benefit, revising the service increment, revising the normal form of payment, revising the disability retirement benefit and vested benefits, as these benefits relate to the Borough of Blawnox Police Pension Plan. We already talked a little bit earlier about the service increment. The other items just merely spell out the normal retirement benefit, which is 50% of the final 36 months, is what they base that on. The service increment we talked about. The survivor benefit for a married participant would be increased if there is the death of the retired employee to 50% of the participant's accrued benefit. There's a disability retirement benefit that would be payable to a participant who meets those requirements. For such benefit, it is an immediate monthly benefit equal to 50% of the salary determined on a disability date. There's an integration offset for Social Security, and there's a pre-vesting death benefit for a surviving spouse of a participant. The vesting benefits is 12 years for total full-time service. And those are the amendments to the ordinance. So we would need a motion to approve ordinance 564.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Call for question?
Question. The actuary has studied this and said that this is financially
Absolutely.
feasible for us.
And Anytime there's a change in the law or a request for an increase in a pension benefit, the actuary has to do a study, and they have to prove that it would not have a detrimental effect on the pension plan. These will not.
Roll call. Denny?
Yes.
Katie? Yes. Beverly?
Yes.
Deb? Yes. All in favor? Motion carries. Do we have any old business? Do we have any new business?
I have one item of new business. We've been discussing with the Allegheny County Housing Authority the potential to build a parking lot adjacent to the senior citizens high-rise. We were just informed that they received the funding for that, so we would need a motion this evening. There are 2 parcels adjacent to the senior citizen high-rise that we will be conveying to the Allegheny County Housing Authority for the construction of a parking lot adjacent to the senior citizens high-rise. We would need a motion and a second for that.
There's a reversionary clause.
Yes, anytime that a public entity conveys property, there is always a reversionary interest in the deed, and that means that if they would ever not use that property as a parking lot for its intended purpose, it will revert back to the municipality, back to the borough. So we would need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Call for
Does
question.
anybody in the public have any comment on that agenda since it was not, agenda item since it was not on the agenda?
I do.
All right, let's stand, give us your name and address, please.
Hey, go by 141st Street, I don't see how just a few people from the community can give land away in Blawnox for 1 square mile. What are we doing giving any land away? We may use that for something that pertains to us in a field, and who knows what's coming up the line. And I feel it's irresponsible for just a few people to say, oh yeah, we'll give it to them.
Good. Thank you for your comment.
Well, I would like more than a comment. I mean, I would like
I can't
to
give
say,
you any more. I can explain to you what it is. You have the right to comment on it. And then the board has the right to vote. Anybody else have any
Regarding the
comment on this item?
How much is it you are giving
It's a
away?
very small item. If you know where the senior citizens high-rise
Yes.
is, it's kind of where you come in from the street, you walk along the edge and in the rear of the senior citizen. It's not your
Where the old tennis court
old
was.
tennis court was.
You see old tennis court. How far does it go into the easement property?
To the easement, which
Yeah.
property are you referring to?
The easement property.
None.
How do you get to the tennis court? How do the cars get into the tennis
That's
court?
up to the housing authority.
That's up to them.
Then
They
you
own
cannot
that
say
property
that's up
as
to
it
them. The wall has to come down and that's the easement property.
They own that property now, other than the property we're conveying.
Just the tennis
For
court, right?
ingress and egress, they will be providing that on their own property.
They have to figure that out.
It's up to them.
They requested the property, we're giving them the property.
That
They have to
doesn't
figure-
need a scientist. You cannot get to the, you know what's involved to use it as a parking lot?
Thank you for your comment.
Oh, yeah, you spare that, Mr. Smith,
Thank you.
because you have
We're not
no
here to-
idea.
We're not here to, I have
Thank
a big idea.
Yeah, I know what idea
I have
you
a
have.
big idea, Mrs. Miller.
Oh,
I've been here
yes.
a lot longer than you've been here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else have any comment on the conveyance of these 2 parcels? Okay, thank you.
Okay, at this time, we need to again break for an executive session for
To vote?
personnel.
No, we need to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm backing up here. Okay, at this time, we need a motion in regards to the parcel of property that is the tennis court on Center Avenue, and giving that
To the Allegheny
to the
County.
Allegheny County.
We have a motion, we have a second, all we need to do is vote.
Okay, call the question, we've done that, roll call. Denny?
Yes.
Katie? Beverly?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
All in favor? Motion carries.
Okay, now at this, yes, you know what?
Let's do that. Now's the time on the agenda for comment from the public for any item related to the Borough of Blawnox. Once again, you have your limit of 3 minutes.
Or right,
4 minutes, right?
282,
That'll be next month.
Freeport Road. I actually approached Sherry because I thought she might be able to answer a question about the preliminary election we just had, the primary. And that is that I noticed that there were more positions being voted on than there would be council seats eventually, unless you add a position, because in fact, the 3 incumbents are being elected again, and then you had a 2-year term to fill up Dalton's term, because of course Gross has taken it until the public votes, and then there was a 4-year term, which Gross applied for. Wouldn't that be adding a position?
No.
There were 3
But-
4-year terms
Yeah.
on the ballot,
Yeah,
in 1 2-year term on the ballot.
yes.
That's it.
And so one of the people would be displaced, should,
No, one person could win both 2-year and a 4-year. If that occurs, they elect either the 2-year or the 4-year.
okay.
Now, whatever vacancy occurs, council
I
appoints
see.
that.
In other words, it's the same position, but just a different length.
That's correct.
Okay. And the second question I had is, there were questions raised about the bills, and I just wondered if the council would consider maybe looking at the budget each month and seeing whether or not you're within or over budget for the kinds of expenditures in the month, because I think that really
The
gives you some
secretary does do
guidance.
that, and they look at each month as to how
So
bills
all the
were
council
spent.
members have a chance, but why is that not discussed in front of the public now? I mean, shouldn't, we be, you say that you're paying the bills, but we don't have any idea about whether you're within or, the estimated budget
You
is.
can have a question, you can comment on it. If you have a specific question as to any item, sure, we'll try to answer that for you.
Okay.
Ingber?
Last meeting, I think I mentioned, it is possible to cut the budget, which means, first of all, what you get out of the budget.
This is
Well,
different. We
Tom,
went through that last.
that's okay. Tom, you do not argue with drunks. So, Ingeborg, just make your
What
comment.
did you just say?
I said, we don't argue, it's like arguing with a drunk. You just need to
I'm
make
not
your
drunk.
comment.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you're drunk, I'm making that as a comment.
All right.
So all you need to do is make your comment, and we'll try to answer whatever.
I got this letter from Ms. Ford. You gave her that nonsense, attorney-client privilege.
That's what it is.
You waived that.
If you believe.
You
that
gave it,
If you believe that we have not answered you correctly, you know in that letter, you have the right to appeal
No.
that to Ms. Montclair, and you can do that.
you waived it. You gave it to a third person. You did the work for the district attorney, and that was not your place. And you charged for 7.5 hours. I want you to pay that back to the borough. That's what I mean, looking at the bills. What is it for? Okay?
Any other comments?
Yes. The street light. I got one page, Victor Capella, and he deserves it, he worked hard. But in comparison, what Senate Engineering made on street lighting, that is outrageous. And they never say what they did for the money, they say just street light project. More than $14,000, maybe $18,000, and they don't even say what it's for.
The engineer's work, so that you understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, is based on a percentage of the construction project, am I correct?
Well, we provide, that was a CDBG project, I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
In these applications, we provide an estimate,
That's
and
approved as
it's
part of the
approved by
grant
council,
application. Right.
and so we work within that budget.
Yeah.
But you never say what you really did. 7.5 hours for the main engineer, then 5 hours for another engineer. You never say what you really did. You just say streetlight project.
Well,
And that is outrageous compared what Capretta makes.
Any other comments?
Cut the budget.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Peggy,
Mainly
do you
yours.
Peggy, do you have any?
Not right now.
If you do, Bill, anybody in the second row have any comments on non-agenda items related to the borough.
Oh.
We'll come back to you, Peggy. Anybody else in the second?
Yeah. I'm Melina Brajewicz, as everybody knows. I want to thank everybody for signing agreement tonight. And I hope that this will give us a new beginning of working together as a community of people like to be involved. I appreciate your answers to those ladies asking questions. However, we do want to go back to basics to get more involved, our chair lady and council members to get more involved. We can give them a guidance, but they have to give answers because they have to explain to this lady why your bill was there
Well, when
and
she
for
asked
what.
me about my bill,
Yeah.
I'm the one who's going to make the response.
Yeah, I
I'm the one
understand.
who knows about my bill, so just so we understand.
Right, you're correct about that, you know, yeah, that's good. Yeah, we need explanation from you to whatever, but, I mean, it's basically the councilman's, men and women's business, why they hired you, what they hired you for, so the questions should really be directed to council members, and then if there is a further questions to discuss with you, then we can go, and it's not just that issue, I'm talking about everything that we are doing here. It's like you're doing a good job of advising them, but sometimes they have to know more than you do because you can make mistakes too. You know, we are just the humans. So I just want to thank everybody for signing agreement tonight.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments in the second round? Peggy, do you have a comment?
Yeah, Debbie, I would like, if you, do we have to stand up?
Please, that's
It's formality.
probably.
Peggy Albright, 143rd Street, Blawnox. At the end of 4th Street and at the end of 3rd Street, but more at the end of 4th Street, there are 4 holes at the end of that street that are that deep. Now, I understand that in a borough, that if you hurt your car going in one of those, the borough's responsible. I understand if you do it in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's not responsible. But we live in a borough, and I want you to be aware that somebody's car is going to get hurt, that's how deep they are. One runs right by the tracks, okay?
Okay.
Now, that's the one sometimes people question which side of the line they on. But the other one is right on Water Street on the side, it's about that wide, and so for your own protection, I think you have to take a look at it.
Okay.
Thank you.
John Novak, 225 First Street. My attorney called me, this is pertaining to Skylo's, you know. He called me, says he called your office 7 times.
We talked.
I'd like to know what's going on. Are we walking away or?
We're not walking away. I talked to your attorney. We've talked to the third parties. I know you understand because if you've talked to your attorney, you know that.
No, he
That
didn't
it
say,
is not-
he says you didn't say anything to him.
You must have not talked to him lately, but I'll tell you, we did speak, and I think you know that the individuals that are holding up, that is not the borough.
Oh, I know that.
That's the county and the school district. So we continue. We talked with the school district again 2 days ago. We're waiting to hear back whether or not they're going to release the liens and the county. Once they do that, we can release the funds to them. The liens will be released, and that'll end.
So we're back on track again.
Well, we never got off
Oh,
track.
no, the idea was, he says he called, he says, boy, that ain't nice at all. He says, well, never called him back
Well, we have spoken.
since then. Okay.
Anybody else with any comments? Okay.
Okay.
Gotta go to the next.
At this time, it is 8:02. We need to go into executive session for personnel matters.
Hiring people.
Personal?
I think they meant personnel.
There'll be no vote taken after this executive session.
Settle.